Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in April. So it's almost the end of April actually, and I just finished my first book. So if I don't end up reading a ton of books in April, either this is going to be a short video or I'll just combine it with May. But the first book that I read is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I had to read this for school, but I didn't have to read this book. They kind of gave us an option between 6 books, and I chose this one because it looked really good, and I'm really glad I did. Their Eyes Were Watching God follows this woman named Janie, and it is set in the 1920s, 1930s in the South, in Florida, I think. And it kind of just follows her life and her different relationships. You start in her childhood, and then it's kind of the whole book is kind of she's telling her life story to her friend. And so she is basically just telling the story of her life, how she ended up back in her hometown, how she ended up back in this town, where she went, what happened. And it was really, really good. I really liked this book. I think I rated it 4 stars. But it was definitely a high 4. I really enjoyed this book. This might be my favorite book that I've read, with school. Just because, it's kind of hard to really enjoy a book, in school because, you're kind of forced to read it and they're making you, analyze it and write essays on it and stuff. So it's hard to really enjoy it, but I was able to really enjoy this book. There's so many beautiful quotes throughout it. And Hurston really has a cool way of writing because the whole thing is written how people talk. So it's majority dialogue, and it's written with the accents that they would have had at the time. And it was just really, really good. It was really sweet. I almost cried at the end because the ending is I wouldn't say it's necessarily sad, but it's kind of melancholy. I want to try to find a quote that I can read to y'all because there's just so many beautiful quotes. Okay, I like this quote. Then you must tell them that love ain't something like a grindstone that's the same thing everywhere and does the same thing to everyone it touches. Love is like the sea. It's a moving thing, but still in all, it takes its shape from the shores it meets, and it's different with every shore. That's just one quote that she wrote, but it's so beautiful, and everything she writes is so beautiful. And I feel like Janie, over the course of the book, becomes a lot wiser and is a lot more self-reflective, and so she learns a lot about love and about herself. This was the first book that I read in April, and I will check back in with y'all when I read my next book. Hi guys, it is April 23rd, and I just finished my next book in April. I read Yellowface. I will pop up a picture. I listened to the audiobook, and it took me about a week, just because usually audiobooks take me longer since I'm not physically reading it, so I'm usually doing something when I'm listening to it. But if you haven't heard of Yellowface, which I would be surprised if you haven't, because it has been all over the news, the New York Times bestseller in all the bookstores. I think it got really popular. I guess, I don't know when it came out. I feel like it came out 2-3 years ago, and I feel like that's when it got really popular. And I just remember the cover. It's a very distinct, bright yellow cover, and I just remember seeing that everywhere. So I'm so glad that I finally read it. Yellowface follows June Hayward, who is an author, I think around her 30s. And she is friends with this other author named Athena Liu, except Athena is super popular. She's written all these famous books. She's had an incredible career, and June has not. Her career is kind of flat. They both went to college together, and so they kind of knew each other from college. And Athena ends up dying. She chokes, and she's actually having dinner, I think, with June when it happens. And June ends up somehow getting a hold of Athena's drafts and notes and a manuscript from that Athena had written to maybe create into a book at some point, a layout, an outline for a book. And she kind of, without thinking much, she impulsively publishes this book as her own. And that is kind of the basis outline of Yellowface. And that's what spurs it all. And so it starts as just, she's taking this outline that was her friend's, she's honoring her friend by, publishing it and turning it into something real that the world gets to see. But slowly the book just takes so many turns, so many things keep happening. And yeah, I think I would describe this as probably literary fiction. But I think it also has this mystery element to it where there's a couple times throughout the book where you're trying to figure out who someone is. And so it's a whodunit kind of. in a way. But I really, really enjoyed this book. I really specifically liked the audiobook. I think I still would have liked it reading it on paper, but whoever like is the audiobook narrator for just like the average audiobook that I found did a really great job. And I ended up rating this 4.25 stars. I really, really liked this. I would recommend this to like anyone who just loves a good story. Like, I never found myself bored. I literally this morning and last night I was just hooked, and so I was just listening to it nonstop. I'm really excited that I finally got to read this, and I would definitely recommend it. So we'll see what else I read. Hi guys, it is now May, and I decided to combine my May reading wrap-up with my April reading wrap-up because I didn't read that much in April, and I didn't read that much in May, but I have been reading a lot towards the end of May, so I feel like the summer will have a lot of good reading months because once school ended, I had like a ton more time to read, and I have been reading a lot more. So I wanted to talk about the books that I read in May. I read 2 books in May, but I started a ton more, so I think June should be pretty good. But the first book that I read in May was One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I was so excited about this book because this is the spin-off, or like, I would say they're probably like interconnected standalones from Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, which was her first book, which I loved. I read it when it came out, and I really, really liked it. I think I might have rated it 5 stars, honestly. I think if you go on my Goodreads, it says 5 stars. It's probably more like a 4.75, but I read it really quick, and I really liked it. But One Golden Summer follows Alice and Charlie, and Alice is like a caregiver. She is always looking out for everyone else. She doesn't focus on herself as much. But her grandma breaks her hip. Her grandma's like an independent woman and loves to do things on her own and loves to dance and go out and do things, and so she's really sad because she can't do anything with a broken hip. So Alice decides to take her grandma to a lake house, and it's owned by a friend, an old friend of her grandma's. And so they go to stay at this lake house, and the guy who's kind of in charge of it, he's just one of the neighbors who kind of like makes sure the house is up to shape and kind of helps around the house. His name is Charlie, and he lives on the lake. And if you've read Every Summer After, Charlie is one of the characters. He's one of the brothers in that book. And so Alice and Charlie they start off on a rocky start because they're very different. But soon they become really good friends, and they kind of have to figure out if they can be anything more than friends, if that's even possible. So it was really, really good. I really liked this book. I think I rated this like 4.25 stars. Yeah, I think I rated this 4.25 stars. I read it really, really quickly, and I just loved the characters. Like, I loved Alice, I loved Charlie. I found them both like really endearing. Like, I just really liked them both. And if you've read Every Summer After, there are some, like, Charlie has made mistakes, but it shows he's a complicated character, and he like does everything in this book he can to to fix his mistakes and do better, and you can really see that in his character. I also liked there were some side plots of like the grandma and like some for other family members, which I liked, so it wasn't just always focused around their romance. But really liked this one. Definitely put this on your summer TBR. And then I went to the bookstore because literally on the day, I saw that this came out on the day it came out. So I went to Barnes & Noble. I was traveling, but I went to a Barnes & Noble where I was traveling and found a table with a ton of copies. And it came out in paperback, which makes me so, so happy. This is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, which I haven't read a lot by Ali Hazelwood. I've only read The Love Hypothesis and Love Theoretically. But this one, I just read the back and I was like, oh yeah, this sounds really good. It's Brother's Best Friend, and it's between Maya and Connor. And the age gap is like, it's not too bad. It's like 15 years. So I think she's 23 and he's 38. But it's her brother's best friend, and both her parents died. She ended up going under her brother's care, and her brother was kind of her guardian for a while. And so they kind of had a rocky relationship at first, but now they're really, really close. And so her brother, and I think her brother, this is technically the second book from Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, and I'm pretty sure Not in Love follows Rue and Eli, and Eli's her brother. I'm pretty sure. But basically, Rue and Eli want to go have this wedding in Italy, so they go to Italy and bring all their friends and family for this wedding. And Connor is Eli's best friend and like best man, I guess, and then she's obviously his sister, so they both end up going, and they haven't seen each other in 10 months because they had a really good friendship. For like 2 years, they would talk on the phone all the time. And then Connor got a girlfriend, and he was like, I don't think we should talk anymore. I don't think we should be friends anymore. So they haven't talked in 10 months. And then they both end up going to Italy for this wedding. And so it's really cool because you go back and forth. So there's like flashback chapters. So there's flashbacks to show when they were friends and how their friendship kind of started. And then it goes back to like present time at the wedding. And then there's flashbacks, and it kind of like, the flashbacks go in chronological order too. So it's like when they started to become friends all the way to when he said he wanted to stop talking and they shouldn't be in contact anymore. And I really, really liked this book. It was really good. It's a little more humorous. In my mind, when I was reading it, I kept comparing it to One Golden Summer just because I just read One Golden Summer and then directly went into this. And this one, and Ali Hazelwood's writing, is a lot more humorous. Like, I think there were some more serious topics, but nothing too serious. Like, I feel like her writing is very much like humorous, comedic, funny beach read, and that was what this was. I think I rated this 4 stars. I really, really liked it. I just really liked the setup. I also really liked Connor. He's Irish, so I tried to like picture an Irish accent in my head. And it was just really, really sweet. And I loved the atmosphere of being in Italy. So that is the last book that I read in May. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am really excited for the summer reading videos. I already have a couple planned in my head. And then hopefully my June reading wrap-up will be very long and I can do a video of itself because I'll read so many books. So I will see y'all soon. Bye!